Today we're looking at President Martin Van Buren. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com, where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. Martin Van Buren was the 8th President of the United States from 1837 to 1841 and was a member of the Democratic Party. Following in the footsteps of one of the most dominating presidents in U.S. history, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren would leave his own mark as president by strengthening the Democratic Party and continuing Jacksonian policies. Martin Van Buren was born on December 5, 1782 in Kinderhook, New York, to Abraham and Maria Van Buren, who were of Dutch descent. The Van Burens spoke Dutch at home, making Martin the only U.S. president who spoke English as his second language. Martin grew up in a small village where his father owned a tavern. Many travelers and local politicians stopped by the tavern, and young Martin often listened to their conversations. These experiences sparked his interest in politics. Martin attended a local school, but his formal education ended when he was just 14 years old. Despite this, he was determined to succeed. He became a law clerk and studied hard to become a lawyer. By the age of 20, he had passed the bar exam and started his own law practice. In 1807, at the age of 24, Van Buren married his cousin, Hannah Hose. Together, they would have 6 children. However, only 4 of those children lived to adulthood. In 1819, Hannah died at only the age of 35 of tuberculosis, and Martin never remarried. Van Buren entered politics at a young age. In 1812, he was elected to the New York State Senate. He quickly became known for his intelligence and skillful debating. Standing only 5 feet 6 inches tall, he gained the nickname the Little Magician because of his ability to solve problems and make deals behind the scenes. In 1821, Martin was elected to the U.S. Senate. He strongly believed in creating a strong political party system to help organize government and make it more effective. He was a key figure in building the Democratic Party, which is still one of the major political parties in the United States today. Martin Van Buren became a close ally of Andrew Jackson, who was elected as the 7th president in 1828. Van Buren served as Jackson's Secretary of State and later as his vice president during Jackson's second term. During this time, Van Buren helped strengthen the Democratic Party and supported Jackson's policies, such as opposing a national bank and promoting states' rights. In 1836, Van Buren was nominated to run for president for the Democratic Party. Now, this might be where Van Buren has his most important contribution to history. Many of his supporters began to call him Old Kinderhook because he was born in Kinderhook, New York. If you were a supporter of Van Buren, you would say he was okay for Old Kinderhook. After his election, the term okay caught on as a way of saying yes, or you approve of something. Although there is some debate where the term came from, basically when you say okay, you are really saying I support Martin Van Buren. In the election of 1836, Van Buren was able to defeat 3 Whig Party candidates to win the presidency. On March 4th of 1837, Martin Van Buren was inaugurated as the 8th President of the United States. He was the first president born after the American Revolution, making him the first truly American president. Van Buren's presidency was filled with challenges. Shortly after he took office, the country experienced a financial crisis called the Panic of 1837. Banks failed, businesses closed, and many people lost their jobs. Van Buren believed that the government should not directly interfere with the economy, so he resisted taking drastic actions to solve the crisis. The decision made him unpopular with many Americans. Despite these difficulties, Van Buren worked to maintain peace with other countries and continued to support Jacksonian policies, like limiting the power of the federal government. He also opposed the annexation of Texas, believing it would increase tensions over slavery. Van Buren also carried on with Jacksonian policies such as fulfilling the Indian Removal Act, forcing thousands of Native Americans from their land. Additionally, it was during his administration that the Amistad case came before the Supreme Court, in which kidnapped enslaved Africans aboard a slave ship took control of the ship and attempted to return home. And to learn more about the Amistad, check out my other video devoted to that topic. Van Buren ran for re-election in 1840, but lost to William Henry Harrison, who was supported by the Whig Party. Although disappointed, Van Buren remained active in politics. In 1848, he ran for president again as a candidate for the Free Soil Party, which opposed the expansion of slavery to the West. While he didn't win, his efforts helped bring attention to the growing issue of slavery in America. After retiring from politics, Van Buren spent his final years at his estate, Lindenwold, in Kinderhook, New York. He enjoyed reading, farming, and spending time with his family. Martin Van Buren passed away on July 24, 1862, at the age of 79. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.